Da na 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 na. Okay. Here we go. Let's do another one. We're gonna do another one. Hi, hello, how are you? My daughter's been making me watch Wicked over and over and over. And so I'm just obsessed with that part where that they show in the trailer where Ariana Grande sees her own reflection and she's like, oh, wow. So I do that now. Well, hello. Okay. Let's get into it. I'm gonna try and make this very quick because my last video was like an hour and 20 minutes. So this is a novella. If I talk that long, put me out of my misery. Okay? Hi. Hello, it's me, Candace. Welcome back to another episode of the What the Smut Book Reviews. Thank you for joining me for another episode. I didn't sing this time. It's fine. You'll get it next time. In today's video, we are finally, and I say finally because I read this book like a year ago. It's been a hot minute, okay? I actually got an arc of this book. I read it. I reviewed it on like Amazon and Goodreads and whatever. But then I never got around to filming this review because I stopped making reviews. And so, but here we are. And in today's video, we are going to be reviewing this book. This is The Witch Queen of Halloween by Kresley Cole. This is part of her Immortals After Dark series. Don't ask me what book number it is. I don't know. It's like 19, 20, something like that. As you can see from this book, it is a novella. And this was actually put out right around Halloween time. So it's a Halloween novella, which was so cute. If you've watched my channel for a long time, you will know that I actually have read every book in the series multiple times. I love Kresley Cole. She's one of my favorite authors of all time. Okay? I'm obsessed with her. I worship the ground she walks on. She can do no wrong. Okay? This is the second book that she has put out since she came back to social media or back to writing after like a 5-year hiatus. So she was gone for like 5 years. And then she came back and she wrote Monroe. She released Monroe, which was a full-length novel. And then she put out this one, which is a fun little Halloween novella. We do get to see a new character, which is the main female character, Poppy, as well as a recurring character, which is Rock, R-O-K, Rock, who is a smoke demon and was best friends with Cade from Dark Desires After Dusk. I think that's Cade's book. Like I said, there's like 20 books in the series. Cut me a break. Okay. Now, let me give you the deets for the book, and then I'll read you the blurb. And because it's been so long, I don't remember the fine details of this book. And when I say it's been so long, I reiterate, it's been like a year. And you expect me to remember what I read a year ago? I don't even remember what I read 2 days ago, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to revert back to my old method of reading you verbatim my notes that I wrote down while I was reading the book. This book is currently, no. This book is not free to read with Kindle Unlimited. Keep that in mind. Not free with KU. Okay? I know almost all of the books that I feature on this channel are free to read with KU. A lot of Kresley's books were originally, in this series, were originally published by Simon & Schuster, which is a traditional publishing agency or publishing house or whatever you want to call it. And it wasn't until she came back with Monroe that she started becoming like an indie published author, and she's indie publishing the remaining books in the series, or however long she's going to continue. So because of that, the majority of the books in the series are not free to read with KU. I will say recently, she put the first, I want to say 6 books up in KU. I don't know if maybe her contracts with Simon & Schuster for those books expired, but you can read the first handful of books in KU. This one, however, is not in KU. So keep that in mind. If you want to purchase this book for your Kindle, you can get it from Amazon for $6.99. If you want this paperback that I'm holding in my hand, you can get it for $12.99. This book is also available in audio, just like all of the audiobooks in this series, every single one, whether they're traditionally published, whether they're indie published, whether it's a full-length novella or whether it's a full-length novel or a novella, every single book, including this one, is narrated by Robert Petkoff. Thank you, God. I'm telling you right now, if she had come back with Monroe and done the audiobook with someone else, I would have been so upset. I wouldn't have been angry at her, because I'm sure there would have been good reasons why. But I would have been upset because Robert Petkoff is one of the best narrators for audiobooks ever. And I say that with my chest, okay? He does flawless male, female accents, every accent you can imagine. Irish, Scottish, British, Estonian, Russian, American, obviously. All of them flawlessly. He changes the voices for everyone. And unlike my last review where I complained about the consistency of narrators who narrate the same books, or like the same books in a series, when I talked about consistency of them accidentally making characters sound different in the subsequent books than they did when they narrated the first one, no. All of his characters sound exactly the way that they did in every other book. The recurring characters that show up throughout the series, in every single audiobook, they sound exactly the same. Robert Petkoff is a magician. Okay? So, again, this is that was my daughter blowing her nose. Again, this is available in audio. I listened to the audio, obviously, narrated by Robert Petkoff. He does not miss. He cannot miss. Okay? This book, the paperback version, has 182 pages according to Amazon. I've talked about this before. I know that everybody has a different opinion on what they consider full-length novel versus novella. For me, anything 250 pages plus is a full-length novel. Anything 200 pages or less is a novella. That 2 to 250 area is like a gray area for me. So it could go either way. Obviously, this is 182 pages. I would consider this a novella. It's listed on Amazon as a novella. It's a novella, okay? So I'm going to read you guys the brain fart. I'm going to read you guys the blurb, and then I will read you my notes, and you'll be free of me for today, okay? So this has like a little tagline thing at the top that says, "Take a spooky Halloween tour of the mysterious lore in this standalone installment of the Immortals After Dark series by #1 New York Times bestseller Kresley Cole." I take issue with the phrase standalone. If you dare. Don't you dare, okay? Like I said before, this is like book number 19 or 20. If you have not read the previous books and you decide to pick this up, don't. Just don't. Okay? Please don't. There's so much going on in the background of the series. If you read them out of order, you will be so lost. Yes, you will still get the main couple's, like, the bare bones of the main couple story, but there's still so many references you will miss, as well as storylines that are playing out in the background throughout the entire series, like overarching storylines, that if you read them out of order, you will fuck yourself. Please don't, okay? And I take issue with any author who puts standalone on the back of their book or on Amazon when that book is clearly part of a series. Unless it's the first book in the series, please don't. Stop doing that. I hate it, okay? So this says, a demon soldier of fortune. Rook. I pronounced it rock, but I think in the books, it was, I put in on my notes, I put rock versus rook. So I don't remember why I did that, but we're just going to go with rock, okay? Rock Kors dives into a dangerous mission, only to cross swords with the woman who bewitched him. And then it says, a cursed Wiccan mercenary. Poppy Dyer has never let her uncontrollable magic interfere with her work, but she can barely withstand one demon's charms. And then trapped in a terrifying lair, tagline. If the two rivals can defeat Halloween's worst nightmares to escape a haunted castle, can they overcome their pasts to claim a spellbinding future together? Okay, one thing to note about this series as a whole, as well as obviously this book. These books are not dual POV. These books are written in third person, okay? So if you don't like third person, you're not gonna like the series. If you don't mind third person, if you read third person novels, you'll be obsessed. And you like paranormal romance, you'll be obsessed. This is my favorite paranormal romance series of all time. Of all time. Hence why I'm 20 books deep. Of all time. Kresley also has several other series. She has a Russian mafia trilogy. To date, some of my favorite like mafia books ever. She has a Highland romance duet, and she also has, or a trilogy, and then she also has a historical romance duet. So check those out too, by the way. That's just a little side note. Anyway, third person, okay? Not dual POV. Keep that in mind. Now, all right, so we're just going to read my actual notes that I wrote for the book. And that way I can refresh myself because I don't remember a fucking thing. So I wrote down in all caps, he falls first, which is, if you know anything about me, you know that's my fucking kryptonite. He Falls First novels. If I could choose to read one type of book for the rest of my life, is that a trope? I mean, I don't know. He Falls First. Give them all to me. Okay? So I did write that down in all caps. So, for the deets for Poppy, I wrote she's a witch, obviously. She has 4 sisters. She's also cursed. She's cursed and sees human horror monsters as visions on Halloween. They're usually intangible. Not tonight. Then I wrote, not tonight. She is friends with Holly, Cade's mate. So again, we met Rock in Cade's book, and obviously Holly is his Valkyrie mate. So coincidentally, her and Poppy are friends. For Rock, I wrote he's a smoke demon. can be summoned by anyone he's porked. And then I wrote best friend of Kate's. So I'm going to read you guys my notes, and then we'll just see what happens, because, so this is what I wrote. Nyx, Dorada, and Loa meet in cemetery, talking about Mari doing something to change balance. Chapter 1. Rock and Poppy run into each other at castle in Canada. Poppy, cursed, can only enter castle on Halloween night at moonrise. They have history of going on one date 2 years ago. He got summoned and disappeared. Never came back. She's a bitter bitch. And then I wrote, he's a hoe. So essentially, they went on a date 2 years ago. While they were having a great time, he got summoned. He is a smoke demon and can be summoned against his will by any woman he's ever slept with. He got summoned in the middle of their date. He never made it back. He's been thinking about her ever since 2 years ago. She's been thinking about him ever since, in a totally different way. She hates him. She's very salty about it. So she comes to this castle to essentially try and break her curse. The curse makes it so that she cannot, every Halloween night, she is haunted by like your quintessential horror movie monsters, like Chucky and Freddy Krueger and Frankenstein and all of these things, right? Usually they are intangible. They're like spirits that just run amok and fuck her up the whole night. She's gotten like word that going to this castle she'll be able to try and break her curse, right? So she's obviously a witch. She has powers, but she doesn't know how to use them. She doesn't know how to control them. So she goes to the castle. She can only get into this castle, like it only allows entrance at moonrise on Halloween night. When she gets there, Rock shows up. They get trapped in the house together, in the castle together. She thinks that he's been sent there on a mission because he's a mercenary as well. So she thinks that he was hired by somebody to be there. And it turns out that he wasn't. He's literally just there for her, for like their unfinished business and to protect her. And he believes that she is his fated mate. And he's hoping that if that's the case, because he's a smoke demon, once you find your fated mate and you like do the deed, he can't be summoned by any other women. So that's her biggest concern throughout the entire book, is that she doesn't want to get involved with him because he can be summoned by any woman at any time. And like, why would I want a relationship with a dude who's at every other woman's beck and call, right? So they're in the castle. The doors lock after moonrise, after they get inside, and they can't get out until the next morning. So during the night, they're having to battle these visions, these manifestations that are part of Poppy's curse. And he saves her life multiple times, which is when she starts to fall in love with him, obviously. And when daylight comes, he essentially tries to sacrifice himself to get her out. One of the things that has manifested, or that has like awoken within the house, is like the primordial ghoul. So if you've read any of Kresley's previous books in this series, you will know that there is now there's now a band of like beings called the Morior, and the Morior are essentially apprised of apprised of it's a group of immortals, but they're not just any immortals, they're the primordial of each of their species. So it's like the very first vampire, the very first werewolf, the very first witch. Like it's the very first or the oldest of whatever their species is, right? So in the house, there's not just any ghoul that they're being chased by. It's the primordial ghoul. And so that obviously makes him stronger, more dangerous, etc., etc. The doors will open for a brief moment right at sunrise. Rock knows that there's not going to be enough time for both of them to get out. So he vows to the Lord that he says he wants her to go. She says, by this time she's in love with him, she says, no, I'm not going. You go. It's my manifestations. I'm the reason we're here. I'll take the brunt of it. And you go. I'm gonna save your life. And he's like, no, she's not having it. So finally he vows to the Lord that he will get them both out. He has a plan to get them both out, knowing full well in his head that he doesn't. He's going to sacrifice himself for her. Let me finish my notes because I don't remember exactly how it is. So, let's see. So they get locked in for the night, start exploring. She thinks he's been hired to be there. He's there to protect her and finish their unfinished business. He blackmailed Desh, if you remember, in the previous books, Deshazer, another demon. He's like I can't remember if he's a smoke demon or what, but he's like a for hire tracer. He traces people here, there, and yonder, right, for a price. Okay, he's like a mystical Uber, a demonic Uber, if you will. So he blackmailed Desh to trace to her location. And then I put, he's positive she's his fated mate. She has issues with him being summoned, but after he finds his mate, no one can do that anymore. They have to fight horror movie creatures. They escape a Frankenstein and rest in another room. She realizes she's in love with him after he saves her life multiple times. And then I wrote, they have sex, but I got ahead of myself and I crossed it out because no, they did not have sex. And then I wrote, nope. 69, and she tastes his, you know what I'm saying? Realizes she's his mate because demons can't produce like cum. Except for with their fated female. So when she gets when she's giving him a bouget and she gets a taste of like his pre-cum basically, she's like, well, you wouldn't be able to release that if I wasn't your mate. So I guess I'm your mate. Right? Okay. They continue to run, get cornered, Rock gets paralyzed, Poppy gets mad, fuels her rage, and causes magical breakthrough. So she manages to use her powers. The visitors disappear. Now they have sex. All caps, now they have sex. Time for the doors to reopen comes, and he realizes the ghouls are outside, and one scratch and they become undead. He knows they won't have time to both get out, plans to sacrifice himself to get her out. They fight. He vows to the Lord to get them both out, but still going to sacrifice himself. They see one ghoul bigger than others. Primordial ghoul! Exclamation point. She gets pissed. Visitors appear, but do her bidding. She commands them to attack the primordial. They kill it. They trace to his home. Frankenstein-type monster uses skirmish to escape castle, bent on revenge. And then I think I just stopped writing things down. Anyway, they escape and they live happily ever after at the end. While they're escaping, though, the giant Frankenstein manages to get out. And now he's like somewhere unknowns. I can't imagine a book, even in the lore, where the main male character is a Frankenstein. So I don't know how I feel about that. I'm sure he'll come up again, because otherwise she wouldn't have mentioned it. Kresley is very intricate when it comes to her plots. And she is writing stuff in for a book that's going to take place 4 books from now. So I fully expect Frankenstein to show up again. But hopefully not as a main male character, because I don't know how I would feel about that. But as always with Kresley, 9.5 out of 10. I have no complaints about this book. I loved it for what it was. It is short. It is a novella. But it did not feel incomplete. And I feel that way about a lot of novellas. I feel like I have a hard time reading novellas unless it is a like bonus material type thing for a book that's already taken place in a series. Because usually I feel like you cannot tell a full complete story with a novella. Like, it just doesn't have the same pull that a full-length novel does. It doesn't give me enough time to get attached to the characters the way a full-length novel does. So I feel like most novellas are lost on me, unfortunately. But this one was not like that. This one, I loved the story. I love the fact that she gave Rock his own book, even if it was a short one. Because like we've been eyeballing him since Cade's book, right? So I was really happy about that. And I really did like Poppy. I love how every single one of Kresley's characters, her female characters, she makes them all very badass. They're all independent. They're all like snarky, and unlike many of the other series that I read, the main female characters for none of these books bleed together for me. I don't know why that is. They just don't. Even narrated by the same person, they don't. She has such a way of, she has such a descriptive writing style that it's impossible not to picture those characters exactly the way they are in your head. There's no way to confuse them with anyone else. Does that make sense? Anyway, I love Kresley so much, and I'm really honored to be part of her ARC team and to have gotten an ARC of this book, even if it took me 12 years to make a video for it. But yeah, I really enjoyed it. I would give it a 9.5 out of 10. I loved it. I would highly recommend that you read it. I would highly recommend that you read this series. If you are going to read this series, start at book 1. The first book in this series is also a novella, and it is called The Warlord Wants Forever. And if I'm not mistaken, it is currently available with KU. So you have no excuse. Go read it. Start the series there and read through in order. Please don't make me upset. Okay? If you guys enjoyed this video, if you like me and you like my channel, please consider subscribing. I would really appreciate it. If you would like, you can follow me on social media. I am very active on Instagram. I will link them all in the description box below, and I'll put a little banner here on the screen for you guys to see. And I think that's it. It's a short one, mostly because I forgot to take notes and I don't remember anything. I don't remember shit for shit, so. The bottom line is read the book. You will enjoy it. Read the series. You will enjoy it. Okay? I love you guys so much, and I will see you in my next video. Bye. Okay. Oh, I know you guys, if you've been here for a long time, you're used to seeing me go and ripping up the paper. I didn't do that this time. I didn't do it this time. I'm gonna go because I'm literally sweating to death in this room. I love you so much. Sweating to death. I love you so much, and I will see you in my next video, okay? I'm not sure what that will be, but we'll see. Okay? I love you. Bye.